the beautiful thing about the Bitcoin network and why I call it solution to the traditional systems we're akin to is because with traditional systems, there is a central bank. There is a
Yeah.
controlling body. With Bitcoin, nobody's in control. What brings everybody together is this idea, this vision,
Yeah.
and this
It's the
belief.
understanding that we all buy into, basically.
So it is a trust-based system. And since there is no central bank, anybody who has the technical requirements and let's say the skills can plug into the network
Mhm.
and be part of the network. And these are the people that are called miners.
All right. Welcome, smiling sufferers. Today I have my boy here, Bablo, with me. We go way back, way back, good 20 years at this point. We both went to high school together. Um, he's a good friend of mine, and I brought him on here today to talk about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. Because as you all know, you know, the cryptocurrencies have been skyrocketing lately, particularly Bitcoin, and I don't quite understand it. And I was hoping you could, give us a breakdown. Well, before we go into that, Babla, I was wondering if you could just give us a brief background of what you do.
Um, okay, so I'm a computer science graduate. My full name is Lolade Babalala. Um, I worked in telecoms for about 8 years and decided to switch things up a bit. So I took a gap year
Okay.
and just tried to rediscover stuff. And that was when I dabbled down the product management slash strategy slash software development
Okay.
angle. And that's been it for, I'll say, the past 6+ years, going on 7. And that's really it. Everybody's goal is, I believe, financial freedom. And
Mhm.
that was pretty much what kind of led me to Bitcoin, but not originally. Originally, it was just curiosity. And that
Okay.
was literally what got my attention, playing with it before I actually figured out what it truly was.
Okay. So, the the instrument Bitcoin, um, can you just give us like a layman's description of exactly what it is, like what it is that people are using Bitcoin for? And actually, you know what? Better yet, can you tell us how it came about, how it started?
Um, I don't know. To talk about Bitcoin, I think I need to take a step back and talk about, should I say, life? I
Okay.
have this personal perspective that life is, in its entirety, is value exchange.
Okay.
Literally, we take in oxygen, we let out carbon dioxide. It literally is value exchange, life and death, yada, 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 and stuff like that. So with that in mind, values exchange in different means. And when we now bring it to like commerce or money,
Hmm.
we go back to the barter system
Yeah.
because to understand Bitcoin and everything, you kind of need to understand the history of money.
Okay.
And with the barter
And
system,
mhm.
people just, should I say, mentally gauged what value was and exchanged items for each other. And
Okay.
then somebody figured out a better intersection, which was
Cash of currency.
currency, some version of currency, from, let's say, stones to
Yeah.
shillings to paper money to plastic money, which I would say credit cards and whatever.
Yeah.
And along with money came financial systems,
Yeah.
so that people had to figure out a way to record, take record, and take stock of everything that was going on. And financial institutions were created and stuff. So Bitcoin was a product of the 2008 recession. Like, it was after the recession,
Oh,
somebody
okay.
pretty much came up with this solution that was Bitcoin. And I liked how
No, you
people,
said someone. Who exactly?
someone, some people. So there's an alias on the internet known as Satoshi Nakamoto. Nobody
Okay.
knows if it is a man, a woman, a group of people, whatever the case is, nobody knows.
Interesting.
And this person dropped a white paper alongside everything that we know today as Bitcoin, or this group. I keep saying this person, assuming it's one person.
Mhm.
But this was dumped on the internet, and along with the nerds, it kind of spread like a wildfire. So Bitcoin has been around since as far back as 2009, if I'm correct.
Okay.
And 11 years after, almost 12 years now, it seems like, oh, it's picking up, but it's actually always been running in the background. And
Okay.
when you think about Bitcoin, I like to tell people it's an idea. And the thing about ideas are there are many great ideas, but not all ideas catch on. And there's some ideas that come way ahead of their time.
Okay.
However, one thing about Bitcoin is as far ahead of its time as it was, it has gained momentum year in, year out. And if you understand the curve for adoption, there is, I think, the nerds, the early adopters, the late majority, then the laggards. So
Okay.
it's been pouring through the charts, and I would say maybe we're in the, I won't even say the late adopters, let's say the early majority is
Okay.
where we currently are. And in that space, we pretty much is why the common man or people in your economic and social demographic
Yeah.
are aware of what it is now. There's still a ton of people who don't know what
I
it
still
is.
don't know. A market person in a third world country has no idea what we're talking about.
So the concept of Bitcoin is more a solution to a bunch of the problems that the financial institutions we know have. From
Yes.
this year is a good example. I don't have what the percentage is, sorry, last year,
Mhm.
but the pandemic, the United States government has printed more money than they ever did in their first 200 years.
Yes.
And the reason I bring or highlight that is because with Bitcoin, there is a finite supply of Bitcoin. With the
Okay.
current financial system we have, the government can print however much money they feel like printing. And over time, that devalues, sorry, that kind of makes currency lose its value, inflation go up, and a
Yeah.
bunch. So all these things were things that whoever designed Bitcoin thought about and put into the thought process saying, okay, we're going to have a limited supply. 21 million Bitcoin is all you're ever going to get, ever.
Okay.
And designed it in such a beautiful way that every 4 years there is something called a halving, which is like a shortage in supply of the Bitcoin that can be created. Now, not to get too technical, because if you go on the internet, you probably won't hear created, you hear mined.
Okay.
So the concept of mining is literally the concept of validating transactions on the underlying technology that Bitcoin sits on top, which is like the blockchain.
Okay.
So the beautiful thing about the Bitcoin network and why I call it solution to the traditional systems we're akin to is because with traditional systems, there is a central bank, there is a
Yeah.
controlling body. With Bitcoin, nobody's in control. What brings everybody together is this idea, this vision,
Yeah.
and
It's
this
the
belief.
understanding that we all buy into, basically.
So it is a trust-based system. And since there is no central bank, anybody who has the technical requirements and let's say the skills can plug into the network
Mhm.
and be part of the network. And these are the people that are called miners because
Mhm.
they believe in it and they validate transactions. And the plus side for them to do that is they get rewarded or incentivized in Bitcoin.
Okay.
And I mean, it sounds super easy, but the cost to mine Bitcoin is through the roof. It's profitable compared to the price.
Mhm.
And that really is what it is. And there's no centralized place. So there are miners in China. I'm
Yeah.
sure there are people mining it in Nigeria. There are
Wh-
tons of miners here.
Which brings me to our next question. How does Bitcoin get mined? In the
You
simplest way you can put it.
so from the little I know, there is a computer specification type for, I'll say a GPU that you need. It's
Mhm.
called a mining rig, basically,
Yeah.
where you need to have the system, the hardware. And then with the hardware, I believe you need to solve like a mathematical equation because all the resources are online if you're interested. And once you hook up to it,
Yeah.
your machine is on it and you're one of the engineers, I like call them engineers that are part of the Bitcoin mining network,
Okay.
basically.
Okay.
And with that being said, it started at maybe 8 cents, which is insane compared to about 40, 41 grand that it is cost
Crazy.
today. So
That's
when
crazy.
people say it's shooting up in 2021, it's not really shooting up. It
Yeah.
really is, sorry,
No, that's
it really is more about, it has been taking a bunch of ridiculous jumps over time
hmm. Okay.
because with every 4 years, what happens is a halving. It started at 8 cents, thereabouts. 4 years after, it was about $650. I don't want to tell you what percentage that jump might be.
Yeah.
4 years after that was 2016, after 2012. The price was 12,000 something.
And you're saying after every 4 years,
1,500. Yeah.
the numbers that can get produced, no matter how many miners are plugged into the system, gets halved
Yeah, it
every
gets
four
high
years.
because
Okay.
that is kind of what preserves the value. And pretty much in basic economics is demand and supply, a
Okay.
scarce item, so the value goes up.
Okay.
So sorry, it was 8 cents, $12, $650.
Dollars.
And last year, the price at the halving
Mhm.
was $8,500.
Wow.
We're talking about last year
Yeah.
compared to 40 grand where it is right now. And there have been, I call these things cycles because every 4 years there is that cycle you can notice and stuff like that. So we're in another cycle right now. And I think what makes this cycle a lot different is there is institutional buy-in finally. Because for the earlier years, it's been retail individuals like me and you, tech
Yeah.
heads, who just believe, okay, this thing might be something. Let me throw $500 and see where it'll be in
Mhm.
10 years. But now, I think Wall Street plus organizations are finally seeing what people had seen, let's say 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. They see the
And
value.
that is why the price is shooting up because these guys don't come with $100,000. They come with hundreds of millions. And I always throw the Michael Saylor slash MicroStrategy guy as the example. This guy had his aha moment because of the pandemic.
Mhm.
And then he realized they had too much money as a company
Yeah.
and there's nowhere to put it. So he finally researched Bitcoin. And between August last year and December last year, he had spent $1.2 billion buying and accumulating Bitcoin.
Yeah. I heard about
And
that.
a lot of other companies are doing the same thing. I literally just read JP Morgan has bought 10% of MicroStrategy. And this is how everybody is trying
Wow.
to buy into it. So